the fact that one phony academic has been driven from their position. Mind you, I think she got to keep her $900,000 a year salary.
Just to go back into the faculty and keep on producing garbage.
Right. The point is, we ought not pretend that we've discovered a phony, because that's not what happened. What happened is we have universities full of phonies where the person who's actually doing something meaningful is the exception rather than the rule. We have entire disciplines, of which Claudine Gay is a member of one, that are phony to begin with. And it should be no surprise at all that if you scrutinize the work from these places, you're going to find all manner of laziness. You're going to find logical inconsistencies. You're going to find pilfering. You're going to find every crime in the book is going to be found there, because these aren't serious people to begin with. And in Claudine Gay's case, I think, this is so troubling, right? How much damage is done to race relations by having people wield their race as a get-out-of-jail-free card so that their garbage scholarship can land them in the presidency of the most prestigious college in the country, right? That is no accident that she got there. She's very good at playing the game, and being good at playing the game doesn't mean she's not lazy. It doesn't mean that it isn't obvious. It means that Harvard was not did not think it was hiring a great scholar to be their president. It was not depending on that president to do anything important for them, right? It was at best trying to effectively improve its ESG score, or whatever the academic equivalent of that might be.
And this is recently. Apparently she was the shortest, she had the shortest tenure of any Harvard president, 6 months, 6 months and a couple days.
Yeah.
So it's not like this happened before George Floyd, or even right in the aftermath when a bunch of people were scurrying and trying to look virtuous for the people who were throwing fireballs in the streets. But she had just ascended to the presidency mid-2023, apparently.
And, I think if she had not had the misfortune of being hauled in front of Congress and questioned by a member of a party that is hostile to the academy, her obvious plagiarism in the most, how hard was it for me to find her dissertation? It took me 2 minutes, right? So her dissertation has been sitting, the president of Harvard had a dissertation, sitting in plain view, and nobody gave a damn, because nobody serious thought that her position in the world had anything to do with her scholarship.
No, unlike peer-reviewed papers that are often paywalled because the journals claim they need to make a buck, I think that all dissertations are available, at least all the ones that have gone through the UMI system, which is where the repository for dissertations exists in America.
So I wanted to just point to a couple things that I think we are missing. One, you know a hell of a lot more about this than I do, but college presidents have a certain amount of power. Harvard hired a fraud for that position, but nobody is deeply troubled by the fact that somebody was in charge of something important like our premier academic institution, who isn't qualified to teach there, much less to lead the place. Why not? And
they're not just figureheads, and they're not just collecting funds.
Well, let's put it this way: I think there is a parallel here, and I think Joe Biden is just a figurehead at this point. He was a crony capitalist politician. He was an influence peddler, and now he's mentally incompetent. And we see the same lack of disturbance among the people who should be saying, hey, Joe, maybe it's time for you to step down because you really, you've aged out of the ability to even do the job.
Yeah.
Right? The fact that the blue team is not doing that, and in fact are going to run him again, apparently, is evidence of the same comfort that whoever the power players are behind the scenes, they know full well that they aren't hiring Joe Biden to make decisions over whether or not to attack this or that country or how to fix the economy or anything like that. He's got a totally different job, and it's to eat ice cream and look, like a grandpa, and, to plausibly explain why, tens of millions of Americans have, gotten out of bed to go vote for him, right? That, his job is to do something, and it isn't presidential. Something else is doing the presidential thing, and we don't know what it is, which means we've got a massive constitutional crisis. Likewise, one of the premier scholars in the country turns out to be a total fraud, and the evidence has been waiting for somebody to look for it. And the only reason they thought to look for it was that somebody questioned her in an uncomfortable way, and
Well, I don't think you've already said that she wasn't a premier scholar. No one took her to be a premier scholar. One of the premier academics in the country, who we might imagine would only attain that position by being a premier scholar, was clearly not, and in fact was a fraud.